All right. Welcome, everyone. We are back for another round.
Hello. This time we're excited to bring to you annotation tools. We had a request from some staff and the communities that we support to kind of talk about how do you annotate a PDF when we're going from classroom to online learning. Sometimes those little tips and tricks are kind of fun. So we've put together um, about 4 tools that we're going to demo today across 4 different platforms. And so, not 4 different platforms, 3 different platforms. A lot of them are ones that we know folks in our area are already familiar with. So, if you're familiar with one, great. If you're not, tune in and hopefully you can learn about a tool that is available to you at this time.
Yes. So should we introduce ourselves?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. I know I was kind of like scrambling to start my video here. I jumped in late. My name is Gina Rogers. I'm one of the digital learning consultants here at Grant Wood.
I'm Maggie Pickett. I'm also a digital learning consultant at Grant Wood.
And I'm Lynn Kleinmeyer, also a digital learning consultant at Grant Wood. And as we are introducing ourselves, we would love it for those of you who are watching with us today, if you would go ahead and in the chat, introduce yourselves. And we'd love to know who's with us today. Not only your name, but also what role you play, whether you're an administrator or a teacher librarian, an instructional coach, a classroom teacher. We would love to hear who's in the audience. And we would love, as we go through things today, we'd love to hear from you in terms of what questions you have as Gina and Maggie are kind of guiding you through everything. Any tips or tricks that you have that have been super helpful with the tools that they're talking about, if you're a user already, what types of things that you have found to be super useful with your kids. And so as we go through this, I'm going to be monitoring the chat and kind of interrupting with questions or suggestions that you might have. So with that, ladies, I'll let you take it away.
All right. When we got asked or we had our request for annotation tools, we kind of got to thinking a little bit about how that fits into the continuous learning plan that our team developed. And we thought that this is a really good place for us to think a little bit about how are we building our learners' capacity to be online learners or online students. And so that kind of fits into that phase 2. And then we also felt like it really fit into phase 4, which was differentiating for a variety of different student needs. And so, Maggie, you have a background in special education services. And so, can you just explain to us why these types of tools, annotation tools, are so important for lots of different types of learners?
Yeah, annotation tools if we think about it from a special ed service delivery perspective, offers learners to interact and engage with the content in a different way than they might typically in a regular classroom. But now in an online setting, um, engaging with the materials and the resources is a little different for everybody in some cases. In some cases, this is a student's first time learning online and engaging with digital content. And so it offers opportunity to interact with the content, but also provide some input and some feedback. And a lot of the tools, 2 of the tools we're going to talk about today, also have some accessibility features. We're not going to dive deep into those because that's not what today is about, but just know that there are some kind of screen reading tools, some text-to-speech type of features that overlay on top of what we're going to show you today to really enhance the learning and reading experience for those students who need those types of supports.
Great. Okay, so I think we'll start off today by taking a look at a favorite of mine, which is Read and Write for Google. It's the PDF reader, actually, that we're going to take a look at today. A lot of times when I present this tool, I tend to focus a lot on the reading support pieces, but today we're really going to hone it in on those annotation tools. And so I'm going to jump in and share my screen here. And you're now looking at my drive. And so I have here a couple different PDFs that I have stored in here. And I'm going to open up this one that's called Extreme Weather. And so Since I have installed the Read and Write or the Text Help PDF Reader extension, and you can see it up here in my screen underneath where it says DLGWA Online Outreach. It's this one right here. My mouse is next to it. I think you can see that. It's a kind of gray with a PDF banner that's purple on it. Since I've installed that, one of the options when I open up my PDFs in my Drive is to open up with Read and Write for Google Chrome. And so that's going to then push this PDF into the Text Help PDF Reader. And so I'm going to move Maggie over so I can see a couple things over here on the side. So over here, I have an option to share into Classroom and an option to mark up the text and share it that way with my students. Not going to go into those quite yet, but rather take a look at some of the different tools across the top that I have here. So I have a place where I can annotate via highlights. And then there's a typewriter tool and a free draw tool. And then also a place where you can add shapes and call outs and things like that. So I'm going to actually use my typewriter tool to type in some answers to some of these different questions. And so I might add in, here is my first thought on this question. And I'm running out of space, so I'll just grab my little text box and continue that on. And we'll just go ... because I'm not sure what my first thought on this question is. I can also make the text bigger if I need to, or smaller by clicking these A's. And I can move it around. So if I need to move it down a line or up a line, I can do that as well. Another interesting option too with this is that there is a speech to text or talk and type that's built into this. So if I click on that and allow my microphone, then there we go. My thoughts are being transcribed in here. So it's an easier way, and it's kind of laggy, just there it goes. So I think because I'm like over taxing the internet, but you can see that it caught my transcription pretty well. So when I'm done, I'll go ahead and hit my red check mark here. And so that is placed in the text. And so I can go through and answer my questions that way really easily with that typewriter tool. If I have a touchscreen device, I would say that this freehand tool would be really nice. It's going to be hard for me because I'm using a trackpad to write. But if I click on that, I'll get basically a pen tool. And so I can add my answer here. I won't make
Oh
you guess.
boy.
Watch me
It's a really neat option.
To add my answer there because it's going to take me a while. So as a teacher, if I have a PDF that I want to share with my students in Text Help PDF Reader, I think one of the nicest things that you can do is to push it out via the Google Classroom app. It's really, really slick. And so up here in the corner, you'll see this little classroom icon. And so if I click on that, once I've attached my Google account to this, and I've set up my classes in Google Classroom, I can click on and decide what class I want to push it to. So I'll go ahead and push it to my demo class and choose an action. I'm going to set this up as an assignment and then hit go. Add it as demo for assignment. Choose all the parameters that I need to for this assignment and then click assign.
Nice. As I was watching you do that, my first thought was, and you could turn on Screencastify and capture everything you just did so that students know how to annotate and then share it and share that video about how to do that as well.
Yes, and if you didn't catch our Facebook Live on Screencastify, I know that Lynn will definitely push those old resources out in the chat as well. So like the online outreach document that you might have been kind of looking at this week. And so I'm here in my classroom as a teacher right now, and you can see here's that assignment that I created. But you might be wondering what it looks like for a student. So I'm going to try to flip on over to a student view. Can you guys see Grant Wood? You can? Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to jump into Grant Wood, who happens to be in my 3rd hour demo class. Into his assignments here. And so in the classwork tab, we'll jump into actually his demo assignment 3, which is also another PDF that he needs to annotate or that he is working on. And so if he opens that up, you can see here is what he needs to answer. I've already went back through and actually answered these questions. And so you can see I've added those annotations, which I just modeled before. And so he would go in and just turn this assignment in by clicking that turn in button. He's already turned that in. And so I'll flip back over to the teacher side so you can see this is what it looks like when the student turns it in. Pull it up in Classroom, and you can see what he added is right there.
Awesome.
And so that Google Classroom integration makes it so slick to have kids marking up PDFs and sending them back and forth via Classroom integration.
Really makes things simple. Any questions, Lynn, from any viewers?
Not so far. It's pretty quiet, but I do have to say, you know, like you guys were saying, that idea of streamlining things and having everything kind of be in one spot. You guys know I'm googly-eyed for Google Classroom, which I do say, but you know, I mean, I think anything we can do to kind of streamline things, but really allow our students to interact with the materials that we're sharing with them is such a huge benefit. So yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to just demo another one. This one, let me share my screen. There we go. This one is Snap and Read. Now don't get confused. Snap and Read, when you hear it, it sounds like it's about reading. And sometimes we think of annotation as writing, but annotation is actually the nice convergence of reading and then writing to kind of capture your thoughts in the moment. And so it is under their Snap and Read tool. So I'm up here in my extensions, and if I kind of hover over here, I've got my co-writer, which is Snap and Read's counterpart, the writing component. But here's Snap and Read. It looks like a little compass. And that right now, my toggle button is on. Typically, I would just go into a document, and if I needed it read to me, I would just have it read to me. But today, I'm opening a PDF from a file. And to do that, I can go down, pull down this extension button and say open from Google Drive. This connects again right to your drive. And then you can go in and kind of start to pull up some different PDFs that you might be thinking about. Now today, of course, I did not title PDF. So I am going to type Untitled. Now this is a design that I had pulled in from as an image, and I pulled it in as a PDF. This is a little bit of a graphic organizer. So again, you can kind of look at this from a different perspective. Instead of working on a worksheet, you might give a student a graphic organizer and say, now go in and show me your thoughts as you get done reading a passage. And so the same thing applies, right? The first tool, if I land in here, the first thing you're gonna notice when you look up at the bar is that you will see the word Snap and Read when that file is open. That lets you know that Snap and Read is turned on, and all of these annotation features are embedded right within the document that you're looking at. So then if you come over here to this pencil, it pulls you a drop-down menu of all of the different tools. The first tool is what they call their text option. And this is, again, just like Gina had showed, it's an opportunity to lay over text over that PDF. So first, the boy And do you see what happened there? Immediately, my co-writer started to take over. And so as I started to type, my word prediction started to take over. I can also go in here and use my speech to text, like Gina said. And I need to allow that. All right, go in here and I can finish. Oh, I don't want to shift it like that. I don't want to shift it like that. Let me start over here. All right. First, the boy went to the farm. First, the boy went to the farm. And let's type.
The boy. The.
Okay. Now I can come over here and write my second part of the story. Next.
Next.
So on.
Next. T.
All right. So as you can see, you can kind of start working through just a graphic organizer and embedding some things like that. The other thing you can do, if I go back and pull up a different type of document, again, go to Google Drive. And this time, I'm going to pull up a PDF. This is just a research article that I had been reading before we started homeworking. And this time what you can see is that when I pull up this PDF, the annotations that I had already made in this PDF pull up with it. So I can go in again with my edit tool and I can start highlighting additional components of this document. All right, so I'm gonna stop share on that one. So Snap and Read has some nice features and you can overlay co-writer with it and have a really nice opportunity to have some annotation tools. The other tool that I wanted to show, which is again something that's going to provide those same types of notes and sticky notes and drawing capabilities, is markup on an iPad. So I'm going to share my screen on my iPad and I'll show you another way, simple way. And this can be done really easily from a phone, from an iPad. It can even be done on your computer screen. All right, so now I'm sharing here working from my iPad. And I'm gonna go back to my Google Drive. And again, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna search for PDFs because that's what we're looking for. And this time I'm gonna pull up again the same image, this graphic organizer. And this time, instead of, this time instead of doing it, engaging right from Google Drive, I'm gonna take a picture using the home button and the power button. And from there, I can turn on my markup. Now I have the capability to come in and start writing. So first, then next, and last. All right, so again, another opportunity to complete that graphic organizer just from a different perspective. I'm gonna back out of this. And next I wanna show you that same thing, this time directly from your photos. So if you are, if you got, say, a packet of worksheets or some hard copy worksheets that you need to be turning back into your teacher, you can prompt your students to go in and take a photo. So I have already taken this photo of our graphic organizer, but let's say you wanted to take a photo using your camera. So I'm gonna come in here. This is something I wanted to show my teacher, so I'm gonna take a picture. I'm gonna pull it up and then say edit. And then go to your 3 dots down at the bottom and you'll get an option to pull up markup. Now I have that same menu at the bottom that's gonna allow me to go in, and if I want to highlight, If I want to circle, if I want to erase, I didn't like that one. There are different options that you can do. The other thing that markup does let you do as well is put in some text. So if you wanted to type a response, that is an option as well. So markup provides, again, the same types of features and functions that some of those other tools do as well.
And I love that with markup, it's super simple. And I think a lot of times people totally forget that that's even there. It's not anything that you necessarily have to add. It's just a feature that's built in as long as that operating system is up to date. And so, sometimes it's a super simple solution that's sitting right in front of your face. You don't need anything extra. So it's always an added bonus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's also too, so say you get a PDF in your email, and you go to open that PDF, there is a little like share button. So it's that little square with the arrow pointing up. And if you click on that, one of the options is markup right there. And so you can just start marking that PDF up and then re-email it back to the teacher. And so it just real quickly completes that circle of passing out and collecting, if you will.
Yeah. Things continue to be super quiet today. I think people are just soaking up everything that you guys have to offer. So keep them coming.
Gina, I think we had one more tool we were going to share.
Yes. So the last one that I am going to share today is going to be Kami. And so I will start sharing my screen here. And we're inside my Google Classroom again, but I'll go ahead and go to Kami.
Kami with a K.
Kami with a K. Yep. And so for this, you'll have to create an account or sign in. Right now, Kami, it is typically a premium feature or a premium service for the classroom integration, which I'll demo again today. But in light of our current situation, that is a service that's available to everyone. So that fee is waived. And Lynn will drop into the chat just that blog post that they put out indicating that. So I'll go ahead and sign in here. And you can see that I am signed in now. So one of the ways that I can use this is open up text directly from Google Drive from my computer, create a classroom assignment so I can push a PDF via Google Classroom for my students and then have them open it in Kami and complete it, or create a new blank page. So I'll just open up something from Google Drive just to model this. And we'll go into this folder. And so you can see here, I have a text, and then over on the side, I have my different markup or annotation tools that I can use. So I will, again, grab my text box. And then if I place my cursor right here, I can now answer the question. So who's the main character in the story? The main character is Alice. If I want to move down to the next line, where's the setting? Setting is Wonderland. And I would probably add more there. So that would be your typewriter tool. Again, if you were working on a touchscreen device, the markup tool would be nice too. So here, for example, I can mark up and highlight a section of text. I can highlight this and highlight it in maybe a different color. The free drawing tool will let me answer, and I won't show you me trying to write something, but I'll write my name.
But again, so what are the different platforms that this is available on the, and it connects with Google really nicely. If you're using Chromebooks, that you have that option to actually write, that would be really a really nice option.
Yes, yeah. So if you were using a touchscreen Chromebook, that drawing feature would work out really nicely. So this gives you just an idea of kind of how this particular tool works. There's also text to speech that's built in that as well. Some dictionary tools, equation tools too, for those of you that are math people out there. You can add that in there. Now, the nice thing, or the kind of cool thing about Kami, is the classroom integration. And so I'm actually going to model what this looks like to create an assignment that's a Kami assignment just out of Google Classroom. And so I flip back over to my Google Classroom, my demo class, and I'm going to just click on create. And so now that I have installed this Kami extension, which you can see right up here under my mail tab, which I have 33 messages waiting for me after this. Yay. So the little Kami icons here, I've installed that as a Chrome extension. Now, when I hit create, one of the options that I have is for a Kami assignment. And so for a PDF markup assignment. And so I'll click on that. And then I am going to assign this to my demo class. I'll say this is demo assignment. We'll just say it's 5 Alice. And then down here in my drive, I can grab whatever it is that I want. So we'll do Alice there. So that's on now connected. And it's going to ask me, what do you want to do with this? I'm going to make a copy for each student. I'm not going to put any due date or anything. And then it also has this nice little box here where it says send Kami instructions to students. And so it sends in Classroom, along with the PDF that they're going to be marking up or answering, some instructions on how to use Kami. So I'll go ahead and assign that. And we'll let it just think about it for a second.
What a powerful tool. I love the integration to Classroom, and that it even just overlays the instructions and supports right there that students need to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really nice. So I'm going to flip over to my student window again, so we can see Grant Wood again, right? So we're going to go into Grant's demo class and look in his classwork tab. And we can see now he's got that demo assignment 5 Alice. And so here are the instructions that walk him through how to use Kami or how to install it. So step-by-step instructions that he'll get for what he needs to do the first time. And then if he opens up the assignment here, the text, and open with Kami. I sent out my annotated copy by accident to him. I should have cleaned this up before I assigned it, but he can go through and add whatever he needs. Ideas here. Yep. And then some more. And so after he gets done marking up that text, he will just turn it in. Turn in. And then it will go back to his teacher. So really nice integration again with Google Classroom, especially now. This usually is a premium feature, but you can definitely take advantage of it right now for the purposes of distance learning. Works really well with Chromebooks, and then also with any other mobile device or a laptop type of mobile device that your students might be using. I'm going to stop share right now. Go back to the grid view. So, do we have any Cami users out there that have chimed in or any questions?
No, like I said, it's kind of quiet today, but I did kind of ask, and I think people are just soaking up and learning from you guys. I know that Maggie, you said it previously, but I just have to say it again. I cannot commend Cami enough for having that integration of the instructions put in, especially now as you are exploring options. You know, one of the things that we can't make assumptions that kids are just going to naturally understand how to use some of these features unless they've had some experiencing or some scaffolding. And so the fact that that instruction is just integrated right in is huge. So
That doesn't necessarily mean that every student is going to be successful with that. You may still have to go in and support one or two students and give them explicit tutorials and explicit instruction on that tool. But the majority of our students are going to be able to get up and running with that simple process that Cami outlined. That's really, really supportive of learner variability and just supporting all of our needs for organization and process.
and I think that's really valuable advice to kind of end on. Any other parting words of wisdom in terms of annotation and the benefits and things to be aware of when asking your students to annotate?
Mm. I know that so my background was secondary English. I think I've said this every time that I come on, so you guys probably know that now. But one thing that I think annotation does, even if you have not necessarily a text or a worksheet that you need filled out, but say for example, you have just a piece of text or a piece of reading that you want your students to engage with, annotation really makes their thinking visible. And it also sets that purpose for the reading task for students too. And so if you give your students a piece of reading and say, I want you to look for shifts in the main character's behavior throughout this particular task and highlight or capture those ideas, mark it up on that text in some way. It really, when the students turn that back into me, makes their thinking visible and gives me the feedback that I need to prep instruction going forward. So I can see, oh, these students really seem to get this, or, oh, these students don't know who the main character is. And so we need to take a step back and talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. And the same thing, a similar thing for early kids, right? Our young kids and our young students, some of them are now being expected to learn and engage with their learning in a digital way that maybe perhaps they haven't been used to. Annotation allows opportunity, especially if you're thinking about those ones that allow the free drawing. You can still get access to writing and forming letters and the kind of learning to read, not reading to learn as our secondary students do, but learning to read and getting those foundations of reading is really essential. And you can still do that with these annotation tools.
Gina stole everything that I was going to say too. Just that ability to have insight into the process. You know, thinking, writing, speaking, listening, they're all part of a process. And it's that mental engagement and that mental cognition, allowing kids to show you what they're thinking throughout the process is huge. So
I guess, sorry, especially in this moment, you know, where I couldn't collect a physical story or a piece of paper from the students that they have marked up. Yep. You know, this is a great substitute for that, to be able to provide them an annotation tool and collect those annotations.
Can be a powerful tool, that's for sure.
It can be. And we did have our friend Carrie join in, and she did talk about how they used to use Cami and now they're using DocHub now. So
that was the other thing I wanted to say. We chose 4 tools to highlight that we know people in our area are using. These annotation tools are embedded in a lot of places. They're everywhere. And so it's not about the tool. It's more about the feature and the function and how you can utilize it to really get to know what your students are thinking and learning during their task. So
thank you so much for sharing, Carrie. I will drop into the chat our digital learning team's website as well as our online outreach document, because even though our time together today is wrapping up, there's always another exchange. So tomorrow we encourage you to join in with our teammates Mindy, Beth, and Corey as they're talking about seesaw activities, and that'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. So thank you guys so much for joining in on the conversation today. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.